Okay, welcome everyone. Today's June 4th, 2024. This is the Airport Advisory Board meeting. And if we could first do a roll call, Penny, when you're ready.
All right, so Commissioner Lance,
Present.
Carla Reynolds, Joe Soborowski,
Present.
Alana. I see her on the screen, so I'll mark her as a yes.
Sorry.
There you go. Kara Beer. Okay. Nate Darlington.
Yep, present.
Okay. Vester RSVP that he wasn't going to be able to make it. Kelly Scott.
Here.
Okay. TR Shaw.
Here.
And then Amy Marciano Ratcliffe.
Here.
All right. It looks like you're just missing 3, Commissioner Lance.
Sounds like we have a quorum, so thank you, Penny.
Mhm.
All right, can I get everybody review the agenda? And if there are no objections, can I get a motion?
So moved, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly. Can I get a second?
Amy
Second.
will second. Oh,
Thanks, Joe. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The agenda has been approved. We attached the minutes from the March 11th, 2024 meeting. If I can get a motion to approve those.
So moved, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly. And a second?
Second, Vester.
Thanks, Bester. Any discussion on any of the minutes? Any changes or anything? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Minutes have been approved. I would now go to item D, our update from the airport staff. And Phil?
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll share my presentation here with everybody. All right. There we go. So hopefully everybody can see my screen now. The airport's had a lot going on since the last time we met back in March, so I'm excited to share some news with everybody. Again, thanks for everybody for joining. I know it's tough in the summertime with vacations and school just starting to get out, so I appreciate everybody's time today. We'll start with an airport update. So we'll give everybody kind of a general update of some of the, again, just kind of things that have been happening at the airport. Won't go too much into detail on some of them, but there's some important updates we could share with everybody. I'll go into another air traffic control tower rehab grant that we received from the FAA. So another competitive grant that we were successful in receiving this year. We'll talk about the 2024 FAA reauthorization provisions that we were able to add to the FAA Reauthorization Act. We'll get into the field of flight, so the air show update. We'll give you an update on that, and we'll go over where we are currently with the ALP, and then we'll finish with any comments or questions. So any questions from anybody before I get started? Fantastic. So just a quick airport update. The parallel runway, the shortest runway we have, runway 23 left, 5 right. It's currently closed. There's some pretty major cracks in it. We've had a couple engineers come out and look at it. We do have funding available from the state that'll actually be on the second commission meeting, not tonight's commission meeting, but the next commission meeting in June. So that contract will be on the commission agenda for what is 2 weeks, the 18th, June 18th. So it's pavement repairs, and there's also a paint contractor in there, or contract in there as well. So we'll be getting just under $80,000 to repaint some markings and put in some crack sealing and other repairs for that from the state, and that's all funded by the state. We also have some local funds budgeted for airport or airfield pavement improvements. So we plan to do that this summer. We don't have a set date yet on when that'll happen, but as soon as we get that, I will update the advisory board on that. We hope to open that as soon as those repairs are made. Waco Kitchen, I know probably a lot of you have heard that it's currently closed. It closed on April 22nd. We did have some discussions with some of the folks over there at Waco. They do hope to reopen it in the near future. They have some internal issues they're trying to work out. So it's in no way a sign that the company isn't doing well. They wanted us to reiterate with the community that they're still a very strong company. They're very healthy. They're going to continue with their FBO. So Centennial is the FBO. They're still ramping up their production side or their manufacturing side with their current models that they have. So we'll share any news that we get on the kitchen or any kind of restaurant openings when that does happen. But as of right now, it's currently closed, and hopefully we can share an update on when that is going to reopen with everybody as soon as we get that. And then just some future development notes. We are working on 2 development projects at the airport. I can't go into the specifics or details quite yet, but we do have 2 projects that I'd say are farther along than just conception. So we've got some good projects coming along. Again, hopefully we can share those details with everybody at the next Airport Advisory Board meeting. But it's just another great sign that the airport is continuing to grow. Last year we were kind of in the middle of the Duncan hangar, and I won't throw Nate under the bus or anything, but that seems to be doing great. It's a beautiful hangar. So it's just another sign of great progress here at the airport and some more future development to come. So any questions on any of those 3 items from anybody? All right, fantastic. So I talked briefly about that air traffic control tower grant. So you've heard me talk about this type of grant before. We've gotten 2 of them, and in March we were selected for our 3rd competitive grant. Again, it's really hard to get these. Not really many airports get them. They select 20 to 25 a year. There's only $10 million to pull from each year. So in the grand schemes of things, I'm sure a lot of you know that $10 million for about 140 airports around the country, that doesn't get you much, but we were able to secure $350,000 for some structural repairs and equipment replacement here at our tower. So we did have some cracks that were appearing on the exterior. So we had a contractor come through and look at those and examine those and see if there were structural issues or if there were any bigger problems. We finished up that piece of the investigation. The actual project is out for bid right now. We're hoping to get bids back here by the 21st and have that contractor selected to go forward with the actual repairs. The equipment replacement, we're looking to replace some of the equipment in there, communications equipment, weather equipment, really anything in the cab itself that can be used by the air traffic controllers to operate on a day-to-day basis is really up for grabs. So tower's about 18 years old, so a lot of that equipment's original to the tower when it was constructed. So a lot of that is up for replacement. So we're happy to get that money to go in there and replace those items. I'd mentioned this is the 2nd consecutive year of getting the grant. I'll just give you guys a quick reminder. Last year, we were selected to replace the generator out in front of the tower. So that generator was a diesel generator, and it's going to be replaced with a natural gas generator. So that's going to take place probably in the fall. The second one was the airfield lighting control monitoring system. So that's the system used by controllers to do exactly what it says, just monitor the lighting on the field. And then this will be the 3rd grant, that's structural rehab and equipment replacement. So those 3 grants total about just under $1.1 million. It's all funded by the FAA, so there's no local match or state match or anything like that. So it's all dollars that we competed for over the last 2 years that we're bringing into the state. So we're very happy that the FAA sees not only this specific project, but this airport as important and vital to the national airspace and the entire system that we operate in here, not just in the state of Michigan, but the region and the country. So it's a great opportunity for us. It's an awesome grant because we literally, I'd say in November identified these problems. We applied for the grant in December and we were notified in March. So it's all happened very quickly. We'll see once these bids come in when the actual construction or the rehab will start, but we'll definitely update everybody once we get those, or once we get that information. So very excited for the grant. So any questions on the grant portion of the grants that we've received lately? All right. Another big update. So the FAA was just reauthorized. The actual bill itself is a very long name, but most people in aviation just call it the 2024 FAA Reauthorization Act. And what does that mean? That means the FAA will be funded through FY26. So on May 16th, that legislation became law. So that law is going to provide funding for a variety of aviation services, airport improvement projects, air traffic controllers, all sorts of vital services that the FAA actually provides here, not only in Battle Creek, but around the country. So we actually worked with Congressman Huizenga, Senator Peters, and Senator Stabenow to add 2 provisions to the FAA Reauthorization Act. And I'd say it's not common. It's not very common that you just suggest additions to this. There really isn't, not that I know of, really any other airports that were successful in adding airport-specific provisions. There were other things such as increasing the age of pilots, increasing the number of air traffic controllers out there, slots at specific airports, so the number of traffic that can go in and out of airports. Those are really the big ticket items. But we were able to add 2. One of them applies specifically to, and it's titled the Prohibition on Certain Runway Length Requirements, but it applies to not only Battle Creek, but any airport that supports either an Air Force or Air National Guard base at their airport. It prevents the Secretary of Transportation or the FAA from shortening or narrowing a runway, taxiway, or a ramp as a condition of funding. So what does that mean? Battle Creek has had this 10,004-foot runway for decades, and this will really put to rest any attempt by the FAA to shorten it just because they don't think we qualify, or they have certain criteria that says Battle Creek, you don't qualify for this length of runway. So in essence, more or less, this act or this provision, this section in there has saved that 10,004-foot runway from the FAA going in there and shortening or cutting it down or even trying to narrow it. There's also other things in there too, such as the taxiway widths that we have here. Those should all stay at what they are, their current widths. And again, the width, if you can think of the width of an aircraft, the wider the taxiway, the wider the aircraft you can accommodate. So taxiway width is just as important as runway length there. So not only does it support this airport, but it can support any airport throughout the country that maintains or has Air National Guard base at it, or an Air Force. Sometimes they're called joint bases at it as well. So we're very excited for that. It helps not only the airport hold on to and maintain its runway, but it'll help the current tenants we have, the Air National Guard, whether it's Duncan Waco, any future tenant that might come into the airport or into the area. They look at the current infrastructure of the airport and they just see that as a major advantage. So with this provision, it from what I was told from the legislative side, it passed on a voice vote. So there was really no opposition to this one. And so it should remain in the FAA reauthorization, or remain part of the FAA reauthorization for years to come. So I should also add there too, I didn't mention that you don't actually need aircraft or equipment there to technically get this, have this provision applied to your airport. So we don't need A-10s or cargo aircraft or even UAS or drones at this airport. You don't physically need them here at the airport, as long as you have an Air National Guard base or an Air Force component at your airport, then you are certainly a part of this provision. So any questions with that one? There's another one in there too that I'll get to in a second, but I know this was kind of the main one. So if there's any questions on that, I know it's a lot of information too.
I have a question. This is Kelly. Why would the Secretary of Transportation want to shorten and narrow the infrastructure? Is it just to try to save cost? It seems like it would go against safety.
Yes, great question, Kelly. And that's a question that a lot of airports ask. And yes, it is. It comes down to cost. So they have to maintain or support with their federal dollars through the AIP program. So through these grants, they have to support what they're signing off on. So if they say, okay, Battle Creek, you can have a 10,000-foot runway, then you could have other airports say, well, we want a 10,000-foot runway. And they would just go back to the, well, what kind of aircraft do you have flying here? What kind of operations do you support? Battle Creek necessarily, you would see a 10,000-foot runway at airports that have large commercial traffic, even some cargo traffic. We don't have that here. So you could, as the FAA, say, well, hey, you don't qualify technically. But we know in the past, we've always had a military presence here. There's always the possibility of what this runway could bring in terms of other development. So even before I was here, and way back when they first made it 10,000 feet, they saw that as a huge asset to the community. And I believe that, it still is to this day. So it's still the third longest runway in the state. There's very few airports that are this size, so that don't have commercial traffic or don't have cargo traffic that have this type of runway. So it's not only an asset that we have, but it's an asset that the state has. And yes, the FAA, you would think, hey, you already have it, we just want to keep it here. But they're trying to downsize throughout the country just so that they can save some dollars and continuing to fund these rehab projects or reconstruction projects into the future. Did that answer your question? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. All right. So I'll get on to the next one. And I won't spend as much time on this one, but the other one we added was it's titled the Advanced Air Mobility Infrastructure Pilot Program Extension. It's a very long way of saying that if you're working with advanced air mobility or drones, UAS, all of those terms, you'll essentially be prioritized if you are collaborating with any DoD or with any National Guard, Air Force, Army, Navy. If you're working with one of the Department of Defense entities, you will receive a higher priority for grants or any kind of programs that would support UAS development. So again, currently we don't necessarily have that going on now. We have the Air National Guard there. They do operate a UAS, I'd say, mission out of their current location. We don't have the MQ-9s on site, but that isn't something that we might not have in the future, or something that's definitely something that's going to help us move forward. So those were two very, very important provisions that were added. Again, it's not very common. I've never seen specific airports work with federal partners and have state and local buy-in so much that you can put this on the House and the Senate floor, and it passes, and then it becomes law. I've never seen that before. So I think it's a huge kudos to the city, to BCU, to everybody here that's kept the runway and that's worked on advanced air mobility and UAS to really bring this to the forefront. It's only going to put us at an advantage when it comes to either UAS or marketing ourselves in the future for any kind of future development. I put the link to Congressman Huizenga's press release on there. Again, you can go through and look through the actual FAA Reauthorization Act if you'd like. There's about 1,200 sections in there. It would probably take a year to go through and look at that. There's a lot of stuff that hasn't changed, but these two are definitely huge victories for Battle Creek and for the airport, and really for the region. So any other questions on those? Right. So I'll give a quick air show update. It's June, so the airport's humming with air show preparation. The air show dates, if you haven't seen them already, are July 3rd to July 7th. Huge array of, I only put the military ones up here. There's several more. I put the link to the website down there. We'll have the Thunderbirds, so that's kind of the big keynote performance. Everyone loves to see those. The U.S. Army Golden Knights, those are really, really good. They're parachute jumpers. They do all types of aerial acrobatics as they jump out of a plane. And they haven't been here in, I believe it's over 20 years to this air show, to the airport. So that's a very big thing for the air show to get. So the Golden Knights will be here. They'll be representing the Army. You've got the A-10s. Their demo team is going to be here. So the same aircraft that I have pictured here and the same ones that were stationed here for several years on the north side at the Air National Guard, their demo team will be here flying the same aircraft. They won't be painted in the Battle Creek livery, but that'll be something really cool to see. You'll see the F-35 Lightning, so really the newest Navy, Marine, and Air Force aircraft here. So you'll see some F-35 C Lightnings here. And the F-18 Super Hornet, that Rhino demo team, that'll also be here. So you've had some that have been here in recent years, and then you have a couple newcomers. And again, these are only the military ones. There's going to be several more, and that'll go throughout the night. But July 3rd to July 7th, there's more information on the website. Feel free to look that up. If you have any questions about the air show, we'd be more than happy to answer them. But are there any questions about this or the air show itself? All right. So last but not least, I'll get into our ALP update. We're currently working on what they term as alternative layouts for the future of the airport. So what that could include is any kind of development in vacant land we have, any kind of development in land that may currently want to see an expansion. So they've done tenant interviews, they've talked to Western, they've talked to Duncan, Waco, the Guard. So maybe some nearby land that they may want to expand into. Maybe some areas that we haven't developed but we'd like to develop, or maybe some areas that we own but maybe we don't. Maybe we're looking at utilizing for another purpose, a non-aeronautical purpose. So those discussions have kind of just barely started. They're going to come out to the airport later this month in June. They'll sit down with airport staff and some city staff as well to go over some of the alternatives that we have. We've sent them a list, and we'll still send them out a list of kind of ideas that the airport has been working on for several years. Obviously, the biggest one is West Side development. There's other pieces and other components that can come from that too. So this will be really the fun part of the ALP update. The big key thing here is we'll use the data that we've collected throughout the past several months. We'll put that into these alternative layouts, if you will, and we'll say, okay, according to the data, and kind of going back to your question, Kelly, you have X number of operations by X number or X size aircraft. That means that the FAA, and we'll see what this happens with this new provision, but the FAA has traditionally supported this or can do this. Now they're probably, again, not even necessarily aware that that provision's in there, or how to deal with an airport that has a kind of one-off with the new reauthorization act that we have. So we're still unsure of how the conversations will either go with MDOT or the FAA, but we're excited to see how the layouts we're going to present to them, what they'll include, what they'll have, any aeronautical, and there are even a few non-aeronautical aspects that we can bring to the development side. We're really getting into the meat and potatoes of what this ALP is going to be used for. So we present that to MDOT, we present it to the FAA. That'll be much later down the road, probably the end of this year, probably early next year even. And they'll get to look at that and go over it and see what the alternatives are, or what the future of the airport would look like. So we'll be excited to, once we go over these, we'll be sharing them with the advisory board. We'll have lots of time to go through them. This isn't just a closed door session. We've got meetings with other city departments. We're trying to partner with BCU as well to have them come in here. So we really want everybody to get their ideas into the airport on what they've been working on over the past several years. So the other exciting piece is the consultants will be presenting at September's Airport Advisory Board meeting. So they'll be virtually showing what we went through these, this June, July, August, getting everything together and really be able to show everybody here some of these alternative layouts that we've been working on as a staff and with our consultants as well. And then again, rolling that out into the end of the year and the beginning of next year when we present that to the FAA and MDOT and get the talks or hopefully the sign off on what the airport will look like in the future. So a lot of things happening here at the airport. Any, not just ALP, but any questions or any comments in general on what I had? A lot there. There was a lot. I'd say more than most presentations that I give, but I think that's a good thing. There's a lot going on here. But certainly if anyone has any questions or comments, I can leave that open.
Hey, Phil, nice update. Thank you. Exciting. A lot of good activity happening at the airport. And on that note, I did want to extend an invitation to to all of you. At Duncan, we have a community open house scheduled for June 12th from 4 to 6:30. So would love to have you to showcase our new Hangar H. So we'll have guided tours and some refreshments and things like that. But I would love to have all you guys there. Penny, I believe that you have the flyer. Would you be able to forward this on to the rest of the advisory board?
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, Nate. And I snuck in on a tour, I think a week or two ago. It's beautiful. So for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, it's impressive. It's very nice. All right. Well, I will stop with this and I'll go back to the agenda. And I don't know if Penny or TR, did you want to give any updates for the Centennial Committee?
Sure, I'll go ahead and do that. Things are going really well for it right now. We had a great event with the brass band of Battle Creek. Salute to the airport. It was almost a sold out concert. They talked a lot about the Centennial and a lot of music of flight. It was a great night and a great evening. Did a lot for that. Just some things coming up. From now through September, the Regional History Museum has on a aviation display down there. They have a lot of memorabilia from the past and just models and things. It's a great exhibit. It's going to be on. They're going to have some extended hours during Field of Flight. If anybody wants to come down and see that, I highly recommend. It's an awesome exhibit. And also on July 13th will be a lecture on the history of the A-10 down there by Brigadier General Ron Wilson, the former base commander. Should be a great event, talking all about the history of the A-10, the history of it in Battle Creek and what it's all about. The A-10 was here for a long time. Should be a great event. Things are coming along well for the our September 21 event, which is going to be a pancake breakfast, an open house at Western. We're putting out the word as a fly-in for that, and then we're going to do a rededication of the airport. We have Russ Calvahuna will be speaking. Of those of you who are familiar with Russ, he was from Western at one time, was an assistant dean, I believe, and he was on the aeronautical board, and he's presently the president of Henry Ford Community College. We're working on, we have a scholarship fund set up through the Community Foundation that will provide scholarships for students attending both KCC and Western. Coming up, that's building. We have a fundraising campaign. We're going to be starting up on that. We're looking forward to really building up that fund and really helping out getting students into aviation and into flight. Other than that, things are going well. Anybody wants to get involved and help us out with this, we'd love to have you do that. And just mark your calendars for September 21st. And thanks for all everybody's doing for it. It's going to be a fun event.
Thanks, TR. Thanks, Phil, for the updates. A lot going on, and appreciate the invitation as well. The last item that we have is September 10th or September 17th. That's our next meeting. So either 11 days before the pancake breakfast or 4 days. Anyone have any preference, or do you just want me to choose? September 10th it is.
There you go. You can get first crack at it.
All right. Do we have anyone in the waiting room for public comment, Eric?
We currently don't have anyone in the waiting room, Commissioner Lance.
Okay. Thank you. No public comment. Are there any comments from any members present at this meeting? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Right. We are adjourned, folks.